Okay, so the 15-minute practice has four parts essentially, and you can always add on. There's plenty of creative things to do. There's a lot of different ways to balance the nervous system, and I'm going to be doing more and more of these videos. You can interchange it if you want to spice it up a bit. But I think that starting the day with breathing is absolutely essential. I've been doing breath work for years and but never put together that it was actually toning and balancing, regulating the nervous system. So, the first part, this comes from transformational breath, is the breath dance. And the reason that we're doing this is to open up the breath and start to create a really nice flow and channel for the breath to enter and leave the body. So, the first thing, you're going to put your arms up and the exhale on the S. So, inhale, exhale, inhale. But it's kind of boring when you do that. So, we like to dance. And this is something this is something that actually creates a whole lot of fun and inspiration to start your day. We don't play enough, and play is one of the best ways to balance and regulate the nervous system. So I highly encourage that you put on some fun and funky music. I have some playlists. I'm going to demonstrate that here in a minute. And you dance your ass off for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so you pick some of your favorite songs and you get down with it. So the most important thing you're doing is this. And the exhale is when you bring the arms down. You can, get kind of crazy with it. If you get kind of tired, you can bring your arms down. Just keep, you want to keep breathing, and you breathe for the whole 2 to 3 minutes until maybe you've reached the end of the song. You can breathe a little longer doing that if you like. And then you're going to sit down and you're going to do a connected breath, which means that there is no pause between the inhale and the exhale. And they're about the same length. Inhale and exhale is about the same length. But the most important thing of that actually is that you're breathing into the diaphragm, because the vagus nerve goes through the diaphragm. So to demonstrate here and to practice, place your hands on your belly. You're going to open your mouth nice and wide. And you want to breathe through the mouth because the mouth helps to release trapped emotions more than breathing in and out of the nose. Breathing in and out of the nose can definitely help to regulate the nervous system, and there's a lot of beautiful breathing practices that use the nose. But for the sake of this exercise, we're going to breathe in and out of the mouth. So you maybe notice initially, see my chest rising and falling. I'm doing this intentionally, not breathing into the belly. So that's a really short and shallow breath, which actually creates more tension and more anxiety. So the statement, take a deep breath, comes from the intention of breathing into your belly to help relax the nervous system. So with the hands on the belly, I want you to breathe. So you can see my hands rising and falling. You can also see my chest rising and falling. And at first, it's probably going to feel pretty tense in the belly, but the more and more you practice it, the more relaxed that muscle gets, the easier that's going to be, and the more naturally you will breathe through the belly throughout the day on the regular. Okay? So the first part is going to be the breath dance. Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes. And then the second part is going to be 100 breaths this way. Okay? I like to keep one hand on my belly and one hand on my heart when I do it, and close my eyes and sit back. And the reason I do that is to feel the rise and the fall on my belly so that I'm tuned into that. And to have my hand on my heart helps me connect to myself. It helps me connect to my heart. And it helps me focus really on being in the body, which is one of the most foundational pieces of regulating the nervous system, is learning how to feel safe in the body. A lot of us have spent most of our lives disassociating from the body due to many levels of trauma and painful experiences, we don't feel safe to be in the body. So any type of body practice and brain tuning to the safety of being in the body is going to be extremely helpful. Okay, so those are the first two parts. The third part is direct nervous system regulation. That doesn't really necessarily have any emotional processing piece. Now, the breath certainly does, and you can do the seated breath for as long as you want. You can also lay down. And just so you understand, I may have said this, I don't remember. You don't have to count the breaths. Just pick a song that's like 5 minutes long and breathe for the entire song. But the next one, and this is something that you can do throughout your day, and I highly encourage doing it at least 3 times a day, especially when you're starting to learn to regulate the nervous system. You're going to stand shoulder width apart, hip distance apart. And again, I like to put my hand on my belly, my right hand on my belly, my left hand on my heart, and just start to rotate the hips. Remember, the vagus nerve goes through the diaphragm and into the colon. So rotating the hips, kind of like you're hula hooping, is going to help with that vagal tone. And I also like to imagine that I'm rocking myself when I do this, that I'm either rocking myself, my big self, my little self. I like to tune into how it feels when I rock my daughter, who's 6 now, and how it felt when she was just a baby. And if you feel that you can stay present in the body in this moment, go ahead and close your eyes. If that makes your mind go all sorts of crazy places, then stay with your eyes open and keep your focus on something in the environment. It's also helpful to think about things that you're grateful for while you do this. Okay? So I'm rocking my little self. I'm also thinking about how grateful I am that my legs work, that I have breath in my lungs, that I have a beautiful roof over my head. You know, not everything in my life is perfect, but I have a lot of things to be grateful for. Okay, so do that for about a minute. And then the next one is just shaking. I'm shaking my legs, my feet, my shoulders, my neck. And the idea here is that we're shaking out cortisol. And I like to envision aligning all of the frayed parts of my nervous system into a smooth, even channel. Okay, and so I'm talking right now, but what I would do if I wasn't talking is breathing in and out of my nose. And so you'll do that like for a minute. And then the last part, and you can do it for longer. You can do all of these parts for longer if you want, but 1 minute of each one is highly recommended. The last part, I like to sit because this is when I like to meditate after this particular one, will be humming or making a voo sound. So you can do either inhale through the nose, exhale, sorry, inhale through the nose and hum. And you do that 5 times. So all the way to the end of the exhale. And the idea is that you're sending the vibration down into the diaphragm. Or the other one is voo. So you elongate the ooh sound at the end. Inhale. Voo. And do that 5 times or as many times as you like. So again, in review, you can elongate each section as much as you want, but at the bare minimum, do each one for 3 minutes. I'm sorry, do each one for 1 minute equaling 3 minutes. And that's something that is extremely attainable that you can do anytime throughout the day and pretty much anywhere. So after that, then I read the abundance practice, which is going to be linked here. And then, well, excuse me, actually, after the toning, I like to sit and meditate. And it is impossible to meditate if your nervous system is dysregulated. That's why it's so hard for so many of us to meditate, right? I mean, how many of you have been like, oh, yeah, I meditate, but I never really meditate. I just sit there and think all the time, right? Yeah, welcome to the club. So after doing the breathing and the nervous system toning, vagal toning, you have a fighting chance of being able to quiet the mind. Okay, this is part of why yogis do the asana practice, the physical practice, and then the meditation afterwards, because it calms the central nervous system so that you can still the mind. Okay, so if you feel inclined, even 5 minutes after the toning, and you should be able to drop in pretty well. Then after that, I do an abundance prayer, and then I'm off and going for the day. And then when I notice my system getting activated throughout the day, sometimes I'll do those 3 little exercises that we just did, or sometimes I'll do just the breath dance, and that really, really helps. And not only the breathing part, but getting a little bit crazy and being celebratory and excited and feeling free in my body has helped exponentially. So I hope that's helpful. I hope it makes sense. And then I'm also going to show you the full practice. Okay? Thanks.